Hi everyone and welcome to TROPHiT's integration tutorial for Adjust. In this tutorial we'll review the steps needed to perform a server-side integration for an app either Android or iOS. We'll assume the app is already integrated with the tracking provider. Once the integration is complete, here's what will happen. Once an app gets installed, your tracker will recognize the install and fire an event to your game server. In turn, your game server will contact TROPHiT with the necessary information. TROPHiT will process that information in order to create a voucher for a particular user and pass it to your game server. In turn, your game server will turn that voucher into a certain virtual item and provide it to your user. Let's see now what you need to do in order to make it happen. For this tutorial, we'll use a fictional app called Monsters World. It has already been defined in TROPHiT as explained in the Getting Started tutorial. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and define which virtual items of Monsters World are going to be redeemable through TROPHiT. When doing so, make sure the technical ID of every virtual item is the same one that's being used inside the app itself, the same name or ID being used internally for that virtual item. Now we can create a test voucher for our integration. We're going to create a voucher for one extra life. And we'll make sure its settings are to never expire and to be anonymous, which means that in our test environment we can test it over and over. Now the voucher is ready, we're not going to distribute it yet. We're going straight to the integration assistant page in order to start the integration. We'll assume the server is written in PHP and we'll use a quick redemption mode. You can read more about redemption modes using the Learn button. Note you can always come back to this video tutorial using this link. Okay, so we've already assumed that the prerequisites are met, that the tracking provider is already integrated inside the app, and we've already created our test voucher, which is step 1. So let's continue by first downloading the TROPHiT integration component. We'll have to place it inside the web service we're going to create in step 3. This way the service can find the necessary class and initialize it. As you've seen in the diagram, this web service will be responsible for receiving the events fired by the tracker. You can also test it using the HTTP request sample below. When TROPHiT delivers the voucher to your server, it will trigger the following method. You'll need to implement it in order to convert every voucher delivered by TROPHiT into virtual items of your game. Each value in the voucher contains the quantity as we defined it earlier, and also the type, which is the technical ID we defined for every virtual item in TROPHiT. Every app implements this method differently depending on the mechanics it has in order to update user accounts. Finally, note that the method returns the voucher code if it's successfully able to convert it to virtual items. Here's a sample of what this method might receive from TROPHiT. You can use it to unit test your method. The last piece of the puzzle is how to let your tracking provider know how to trigger your web service. So let's go over to the Adjust dashboard and add a callback for the install event for our app. You only need to do this once per app. Simply pick up the callback template from the TROPHiT dashboard and paste it as a callback for the install event. Of course, don't forget to change the host name to your real server. Note that correctly selecting the event is important for TROPHiT. If you select an event that is too early in the user's life cycle, your server might not be able to enable virtual items for that user. You might want to choose a post-install event like a first-time login, registration, sign-up, or maybe a tutorial complete event in order to trigger TROPHiT. Also note that if you need access to your own user's internal custom ID during TROPHiT redemption, first ensure the selected event actually collects it as a custom SDK parameter. You can read more about such parameters on Adjust's documentation website. Finally, let's repeat the process for re-engagement support. Simply put another callback, this time for the reattribution event. This is optional, of course. Note that during testing, you might want to set your callbacks to a development server and later switch them to a production server. Finally, let's look at integration testing. To start, we'll need a link for this voucher from our tracking provider. This has already been covered by the Getting Started tutorial, so we'll go over it real quick. Let's go to the voucher's distribution instructions, pick up the tracker name, create a new tracker for it in Adjust. And add our test device ID to the link we created. Next, we need to make sure that our test device is forgotten or reset by Adjust. So we'll just follow the link and reset the device using Adjust's APIs. I'm going to use curl command line for this example, but you can use any other tool, even a browser address bar. As you can see, the device is now reset, and we can verify that by rerunning the same command again. Now the device seems to have no more history. Next, simply uninstall the app from the test device, use the link in order to install the app, and verify the redemption occurs on your servers. And that's it, your integration is now complete and tested. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial and feel free to contact us for any questions.